Zone Media.
That's very important. We have to traumatize a woman in order to truly give everyone the Andrew Tate experience. Let's just open the episodes with that. Everyone will love that. Sophie, welcome back to being on camera.
Picked a great one.
Yeah. I'm finally back up in my office. I can finally walk back up the stairs, and half the plants up here did not survive the surgery. And I'm really pissed about it.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't survive surgery. Good luck if you're going into surgery.
Jesus fuck, Robert.
I know. Damn. I'm having a horrible introductions this week. Jesus.
You do kind of look like a poet today. You're giving poet energy.
Sophie, I am a poet. Thank you very much. Yeah. A poet of people who really suck ass. That's the kind of poet I am. Much like Yeats.
I really don't like when you're mean to yourself.
Oh, no. I'm just watching that falcon, unable to hear the falconer. Gyres are widening, all that good shit.
It's like I'm just handing out treats to my dogs.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody's mean to one of my dogs. I can't stomach it. It's not all right. Also, Ian's here. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Ian. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good.
Welcome to walking into us being weird.
I'm afraid of what I'm about to hear for the next hour or so, but you know what? Let's do it.
Goodness, you should be. We all should be, because today we're finally giving you an update on Andrew Tate, an Andrew Uptate. I hate every time I say that, and I still keep saying it.
You did. You sent me multiple files.
Yeah, I did. Because I edited it when some new shit came out, because stuff keeps coming out about this motherfucker.
I unfortunately sent you some horrifying
you sent me a thing as I was finishing this, and I was like, great, now I have to go back into the fucking file on my, day that I'm relaxing.
Between the last Andrew Tate. Between the last episodes we did and this update, and then the Manosphere series on Jamie's show,
God.
Feel like I'm swimming in it. I'm deep in the water. So
you're filthy with Tate. It's like wading into a sewer.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Saturday, May 2nd, country's biggest stars will be in Austin, Texas at our 2026 iHeart Country Festival presented by Capital One. See Kane Brown, Parker McCollum, Riley Green, Shabuzi, Dylan Scott, Russell Dickerson, Gretchen Wilson, Chase Matthew, Lauren Elena. Tickets are on sale now. Get yours before they sell out at Ticketmaster.com.
This is Ryder Strong, and I have a new podcast called The Red Weather. In 1995, my neighbor, Anna Trainer, disappeared from a commune.
It was nature and trees and praying and drugs.
So no, I am not your guru.
And back then, I lied to everybody.
They have had this case for 30 years.
I'm going back to my hometown to uncover the truth. Listen to The Red Weather on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's Emily Simpson and Shane Simpson from the Legally Brunette podcast.
Each week, we're bringing you true crime through a legal lens.
Whether you want all the facts on the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, or you still need to wrap your head around the Diddy verdict, we're breaking it all down step by step.
And we're not just lawyers, we're also husband and wife. It makes for some pretty entertaining episodes.
Listen to Legally Brunette on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the biggest night in podcasting.
The countdown is on to our 2026 iHeart Podcast Awards. Live from South by Southwest, March 16th, we'll honor the very best in podcasting from the past year and celebrate the most innovative talent and creators in the industry.
It's truly a who's who of the podcasting world.
Creativity, knowledge, and passion will all be on full display.
And the winner of the iHeart Podcast Award is...
See all the nominees now at iHeart.com/podcast awards.
Audible is a proud sponsor of the Audible Audio Pioneer Award. Explore the best selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals all in one easy app. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
So we're going to be answering the question, what's new with Andrew Tate? Because you've probably heard a lot of confusing stories, and I think people who are just kind of like casually looking at the coverage are like, oh, wait, he's out of jail now? Are the charges dropped? He's back in the U.S. Wait, is he under investigation in the U.S.?
It's
What's
very
happening?
Confusing.
We're going to get into all that.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain exactly what's happening with the man. And then in part 2, we're going to talk a lot about some new stuff that's come out, about things that were happening, during the last episodes we wrote, but that we didn't know because there have been a bunch of leaks from his website since.
Sure.
So this is all important information that does kind of change my understanding of how this guy operates and what's actually going on behind the scenes. But let's start with what the fuck's going on right now and what's been going on since we talked about him last. So when we left Monsieur Tate back in 2022.
No, don't give him that.
No,
don't give him
that. No.
He'd been arrested and jailed and then released to house arrest. And in the 2 years since, simultaneously, very little has changed. And at the same time, quite a lot has.
Right.
So let's start with just a little bit of an overview of what went down. Andrew, age 36, and Tristan, age 34 at the time, were both arrested on December 29th, 2022. They'd moved to Romania in 2016 and had drawn attention from the authorities for trafficking women and forming an organized crime ring to do so. Investigators identified 7 women who alleged that they had been forced to perform sex acts on camera for the Tates' financial gain. One of the women accused Andrew of having raped her twice in March of 2022. Another woman claimed a Tate associate had used violence to force her to stay in their compound after she attempted to leave. Both brothers were locked up in a Romanian prison for about 3 months. While they were incarcerated, DICOT, the Romanian federal agency devoted to organized crime who was handling this case, towed away a bunch of their luxury cars and seized almost $4 million in assets. Ultimately, they were released to house arrest, and then nothing seemed to happen for quite a while. Andrew continued posting on Twitter, and he guested remotely in podcasts from his compound in Romania. Right-wing figures would fly to Romania and visit him and put him on their various shows. It wasn't until June of 2023 that Tate was formally indicted. He and his brother and 2 Romanian women were charged with forming an organized criminal group in 2021 and orchestrating a campaign of human trafficking in 3 different countries. He was also charged with rape. So there was a significant gap between, December of 2022 when he was initially arrested, and then a few months later house arrest started. But it wasn't until June of the next year of 2023 that he actually gets indicted for anything. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be a sign that the actual case around this is messy. And it's not messy because there's not a bunch of evidence of fucked up shit Andrew did. It's messy in part because the Romanian justice system, not the best in the world.
Sure.
Right? Romanian criminal investigations don't always have their P's and Q's put together here. So the massive coverage around the indictments and allegations led to a flood of additional allegations from women who had been abused by Andrew back home in the UK. I'm going to quote from the New York Times here. In March, this is 2023, the Romanian authorities arrested the Tates again after Britain said it was pursuing them over separate accusations related to sexual crimes and exploitation in that country. A Bucharest court ruled soon afterward that they would be extradited to Britain to face those charges after legal proceedings conclude in Romania. And this is still the way things are, right? That case is continuing to build. UK authorities have expressed being very bullish on prosecuting the Tates. And as things stand, once the investigation,
Why are they bullish?
Because they think they have a good case, and the UK has a functional criminal justice system, somewhat, right? But they have prosecutors who know how to put together a case better than the Romanian ones do, I think. Yeah.
I guess, but these guys have gotten away with it for so long that I'm just like, I don't know, I don't have faith in the justice system.
The UK, to be fair, UK authorities massively fucked up the first set of allegations against Andrew, which is fair.
Why are you so confident when you're clearly bad at your jobs?
Because this has become a massive issue in the UK, right? By most recent polls, 52% of men under 19 have a positive view of Andrew Tate in the UK.
Yeah,
that's way too many.
But he's also become extremely demonized to a lot of adults and a lot of the people in politics in the country. So he is a massive figure over there for that reason. And at least all of the signs I'm seeing is that the UK wants to prosecute him aggressively. And so the best thing for him may be the fact that this Romanian case has been so messy because they won't extradite him until they either charge him and the case is concluded or they drop the investigation, right?
Sure.
So the day before I finalized these episodes, a BBC article dropped with more details from this case, the case of the 4 women in the UK who are alleging crimes committed by Tate. According to court documents in those cases, which have become recently available, one of these women alleges that Tate pointed a gun at her face and told her, "You're going to do as I say or there will be hell to pay." Another woman claims that he threatened to kill her. Another says that he threatened to kill anyone who spoke to her. And another says he convinced her he'd killed people in the past. I don't, just based on what's not known about him, believe that. But he has as we'll talk about, he spends a lot of time and effort trying to convince people that he is like a very deadly man.
He does.
Particularly 14-year-old boys and the teenage women he primarily pursues.
Right.
Which I'm not saying she's silly for taking that seriously. You should always take it seriously when a guy who is threatening you says that.
Especially if they allegedly are holding a gun.
Yeah. Well, he was only holding a gun allegedly on one of them. Not on this one. These were 4 different women.
Just one guy.
Yeah, these were 4 different women with different allegations. Okay. Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, which is his brother and weird little sidekick, and their spokesperson have repeatedly denied these and all other allegations against them. He has also taken what we will describe as uneven efforts to reform his image. For one thing, he converted to Islam, supposedly, and has made a number of videos, showed up on some podcasts about that. There's a good BBC documentary in which people who were close to him and know him say, like, that's a lie. And I believe, again, he's been spotted repeatedly, like when he got back to Florida, like in clubs, in and around alcohol, drinking, partying in ways that, like, strict observant Muslims don't do. What with the booze. But he's also tried to remake his image as a philanthropist. Now, this started with just kind of bullshit. He claimed that in the past he had donated heavily to charities. He built a dog shelter in Romania and was going to rebuild an orphanage. Mm-hmm. But in the wake of these allegations, he launched the website TatePledge.com and claimed in a video, "I donate $25 million a year to feeding children in war-torn countries, especially in the Islamic world, because that's where war is." There's actually war all over the place, not just in the Islamic world. Andrew Tate. In that video, he announced the birth of the Tate Foundation, which, quote, "is going to be dedicated to charitable acts. I will be spending millions and millions of dollars on charitable acts for the rest of my human life."
Wait, what's happening on this website?
Oh, yeah. It's it's like videos. So those are videos that when you like different charities put out for their donors. We'll be explaining that in a second, like what's going on this site. But I wanted people to see TatePledge.com.
That's what I'm looking at.
It looks like a normal charitable website where you're collecting all the different donations from these people. But these are all supposed to be from Andrew Tate, right?
Yeah, Andrew Tate's has not changed lives for the better. Come on.
No. After he states, "God has blessed me with fantastic wealth. It's more money than I will ever personally need." The video then displays text saying, "This is how the most famous man on earth exerts his influence. Despite all the attacks from his fiercest critics, he is the only one actively trying to change the world for the better." Now, we'll talk about how real all this shit is in a second. It's not mostly. If you go to the Tate Pledge website, it looks kind of like a normal NGO, right? Except the weird fact of the matter is, like, normally a site like this would be keeping track of a bunch of people donating, and this is just supposed to be the Tates and some of their inner circle war room members. On that site today, it claims that almost 1.2 million lives have been changed by their donations, and $12 million are donated, and even that is significantly less than Tate claimed he was planning to spend. But yeah, there's like 43 projects listed on the site, from wheelchairs for disabled kids to distributing food aid in Yemen, and it all sounds nice and weirdly innocuous for the Tates. And so the obvious question one asks now is any of this real? And to answer that, I'm going to refer to an investigation published on the website Unheard and written by Steve Bogan. Quote, "There is very little evidence of more than 1 million lives being changed, or of tens of millions of dollars being spent. Fewer than 10 charities feature in the videos, and at least one is now defunct. The Tate's most regular collaborator is Muslim Global Relief, a Manchester-based charity with an income of £3.4 million and 3 employees. Its deputy managing director, Mohammed Bashir, told me that Muslim Global Relief had conducted 16 to 20 projects with Tate-donated money this financial year, but the total amount spent was £30,000 at most. Asked whether the Tate-funded projects were long-term or one-off events, Mr. Bashir said, "One project at a time in different places." The charity, he added, had made a policy decision to carry on taking money from the Tates, regardless of the charges they faced. However, if they were found guilty, Global Muslim Relief would sever all ties. So we're looking at tens of thousands from the most documented charity, not millions. This is clearly the kind of like a tax dodge sort of situation, as well as being like a PR thing. But also, Tate's been accused of not paying like tens of millions of dollars in UK taxes over the years. So it's one of those like, this doesn't count to me.
Right.
Like the fact that you lied about how much you gave in order to get some videos that you could put on a website and gave what is effectively pocket change based on what you actually owe in taxes. I don't know. I don't really give a shit. So, and even that, I should say, this is like the most documented relationship they have with a charity. Even that possibly semi-legit $30K donation is incredibly sketchy when a journalist digs into it, because Bogan like did the smart thing, and after Global Muslim Relief was like, yeah, he gave us some money, like not as much as he claimed, but some. He was like, so like, how did they transfer these funds to you? Like, how'd they get sent to you? And they said, and this is so weird, they were like, well, actually, Tate didn't give them to us directly. A journalist who we won't name handed it to us from Tate. Quote from their representatives.
What?
We don't have direct links with the Tate brothers, Mr. Bashir said. There's a journalist based here in the UK who's a representative and looks after the charitable arm for them. He's the one who gives us the donations, and then we do the projects and give them the appropriate feedback. There's no ongoing long-term funding for one particular project in one particular country. That's really weird.
Yeah, that sounds not normal.
First off, a journalist is your intermediary? If they'd said a lawyer, I'd be like, hey, rich people have like a lawyer handle that kind of shit all the time. A journalist?
My question is this the same reporter Bashir that fucked with Princess Diana in the UK?
No, Bashir is the representative from the Muslim Global
I thought
Muslim
that was
Relief.
the journalist.
Nothing to do with that.
Okay,
no.
I was like, red flag.
I don't know who. I actually have a couple of theories, but I'm not going to throw them out on air about who this quote unquote journalist might be. But yeah, that's weird. That's not how this is normally handled.
Yeah, seems bizarre.
And I should emphasize here that there are substantial tax benefits to donating to certain amounts to charity. And to an extent, when you're bringing in money like this, it does make financial sense to donate. The Tates have been doing this for years with the money they brought in from sexually trafficking webcam workers. One charity they gave to, Muslim Hands, took donations from the Tates for years and sent them video evidence of some of the projects they completed, which is a standard thing for NGOs to do, right? Like here's some video evidence of how your money is helping people.
Yeah.
Andrew started posting this footage on his website after his arrest, which horrified them because this is a real charity and they want nothing to do with a pimp. They publicly cut ties with the brothers and asked for all of the footage to be removed. But many of the charities he claims to have given to, like Human Appeal, deny that they received actual donations from the Tates. He claims to have donated to them, and they're like, no, like one completely different guy dedicated some money in their names. There's another group he claims to have donated to, Action for Humanity International, who says they did not receive money from the Tates, but their Canadian partner organization got $800. And as soon as the charges were made public against the Tates, they returned it. Several larger donations were offered by the Tates to their Canadian partner, but the charity refused the money because they like Googled him and were like, oh, fuck, we don't need this. We don't need this at all. We don't need your $12,000, Andrew Tate. Jesus Christ,
Google
get the fuck
before?
out of here. Well, I think before, you're talking about like 2017, 18, where he's like a pimp and kind of well known in like webcam sex communities, but like it might not pull up anything. And you're also, the thing they noted was that their limit for when they would do due diligence on a donation was like $1,500. And so an $800 donation, they're just not checking on because that's not enough money for them to really worry about it, right? Which makes sense to me. You know, it costs money to do that due diligence. Now, additionally, from that unheard article, quote, other charities singled out by the Tates have simply disappeared. The first video posted on the Tate Pledge website was dated to April 13th and features hundreds of construction workers in Dubai receiving boxes of food, courtesy of a charity called Life Guided by Light, a similar Dubai-based food handout supported by the Tates and executed by men wearing Life Guided by Light t-shirts, was carried out in a car park for Chinese National Chemical Engineering vehicles. The workers wore high-vis vests bearing the letters CNCEC. Yet when I tried to ask Life Guided by Light why it felt necessary to feed workers employed by a huge multinational corporation,
right, that was I was like, what am I missing?
That seems weird. Right.
Yeah.
But here's it. I discovered that the charity's 3 trustees had dissolved it last December following a year of zero income and zero expenditure.
Oh, God.
My guess, because he has ties to Dubai, he goes there. I kind of wonder if maybe there's some like he wanted to move some money over there. And this was like a weird shot. I don't know, but it certainly doesn't seem to be real. Earlier this year, I showed, and this is continuing that article from Unheard, Earlier this week, I showed the Tate Pledge page to 2 senior academics with expertise in the charity sector. While neither wanted to be named, one expressed concern over the use of stereotypical images of victims in need that are now being heavily criticized by the NGO community. The Tate videos, he pointed out, often feature young African children expressing delight at being given a plate of food. The other added, it seems like a classic case of charity washing, trying to bolster a hugely damaged reputation through good works. I suspect many charities wouldn't touch the money. And again, all of the evidence suggests it's not a lot of money.
Sure.
In one video on the Tate Pledge website,
he just can't stop grifting.
It's just a con.
He's addicted to the grift.
It's the laziest con, though. It's just like this way. Because again, his audience, he's not trying to convince this journalist. He's not trying to convince you and me. He's trying to convince 14-year-old boys,
right,
who probably because of the state of education in both the UK and the United States aren't that great at reading.
No, they're very vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh shit. Sorry. In one video on the Tate Pledge website, Andrew promised to provide full accounts and receipts to prove that the money goes directly to charity, to feeding children in war-torn countries. When Steve Boggin asked their U.S.-based lawyer to see these receipts, he was ignored, as he was ignored when he emailed the Tates directly. The whole... And Boggin did a great job on this. It's a very good article, Unheard, UNHERD. As the website was published on. The whole charity angle was from the jump a cynical ploy for public sympathy. In public, Andrew blames the Matrix for his many prosecutions around the world and expresses sublime confidence that he will successfully fight all these cases and win them. And I want to add here, I considered going back and adding some details about his past and childhood that have come out in subsequent publications. It just didn't make sense for these episodes because there's so much new stuff. But I do want to note one thing that has come out is that his father, the famous chess player, is the guy he gets the Matrix comparisons from, because his dad was obsessed with the Matrix and would bring it up constantly to Andrew and Tristan. That's something like one of his aunts and stuff. He's had like a couple of members of his family speak out. So that is apparently where this is not just something he picked up because the right-wing internet adopted, which I had assumed because it's just such a big thing on the conservative internet is talking about the Matrix.
Like the red pill stuff.
No, this actually literally does go back to his childhood, which I find interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So the fact that he feels a need to, I will say, as confident as he expresses being in all cases that he's going to win, all of these different criminal trials, the fact that he would do this fake charity bullshit, pretend to convert to Islam, it does suggest a vulnerability. The fact that he is actually worried, and that he's also shameless.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You wouldn't do this if you didn't feel like there was some potential protection in it for you.
Right, unless he was nervous about potentially losing or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Or not even just losing in a court of law, but losing his audience, which I think in a way is you could argue that's more important to him.
Well, and there's
1,000,000%.
There's one of the BBC articles interviews like a former kid who actually like paid to be in, the real world, and it has since come out and talked about like which is one of his website platforms where he hustles young men. And he said that like the thing that pulled him out of it was reading the actual court allegations, which is not a common story. It's not easily replicable, but there is the fact that these allegations do pull some people away from him. Right. And it also stops some people who might, like the fact that this is publicized does help keep some people from getting towards him. It's a mixed bag because the additional notoriety also helps draw people. I don't know entirely how it all shakes out. Like this kind of stuff is messy. There's not an easy answer here. So when it comes to this kind of examples of sort of his vulnerability and also how he utilizes this online community he's built of young men. And he's got 2 websites. We'll talk about them in more detail in part 2, but the War Room and the Real World. The Real World is like $50 a month. The War Room is like $8,000 a year, plus a lot more to be admitted into certain chat rooms. And the Real World is much bigger, and it kind of exists to funnel people upwards, right? It's kind of both an MLM and a cult style thing. Again, we'll talk about it more later. But he utilizes this mass of a couple of hundred people in the Real World in order to act as his online army, to amplify his message, to keep him going viral. And he attempted to utilize them near the end of 2023 to help him get let out of Romanian. I mean, I think he was like house arrest. And using the excuse that he needed to leave to the United States temporarily so he and his brother could see their grandmother before she dies. Now, this was transparent bullshit, but it's the kind of bullshit that he would only try if he was actually frightened of being convicted. Andrew actually launched a whole media campaign around his grandma, using his subscribers to the real world. And members are, essentially there to be digital servants, right? There's a lot of they're taught how to do all these different online money-making scams, affiliate marketing, and flooding Amazon with AI books, but they're really there to cut together videos of Andrew Tate and flood the internet with it. And this is what he tried to utilize as a resource in a focused way to get this idea that he just wants to visit his grandma to go viral. Per an article in Vice, quote, Vice News has been provided with a screenshot of a message posted on a chat board for the real world on Saturday by Tate's cousin, Luke Tate, who acts as a professor on the site. The post offered a bounty or reward of unspecified value for the subscribers who created the 20 most viewed video posts in support of the campaign to see Grandma Tate.
What's Cousin Tate's expertise?
He's their cousin.
Oh, sick.
How many of these fuckers are there? Oh my God.
I've heard of 3 so far. I think there may be some more involved. Grandma Tate is sick and dying. She can't travel. She wants to see Andrew and Tristan before she dies, read the post. The American embassy isn't helping them make this real. We want the world to know about Grandma Tate's condition and ask the question, why is this happening to American citizens? The post then instructs members, again, most of these are teenagers to early 20s, to create videos using AI, drawing on old clips of Tate talking about his grandmother. Dozens of videos followed, but none gained much traction. And this video posted to Twitter has gotten less than 700 views, despite being embedded in a Vice article. So this should be one of the higher view videos, and people don't care about this shit. Look at this bullshit.
Tate's grandma is very ill and doesn't have much longer on this earth. Her last wish is to see the Tate brothers one last time. I'll explain. She cannot travel due to her serious illness. However, the American embassy won't let Tristan and Andrew visit America. Even though the Tate brothers are American citizens, why is America not letting Mrs. Tate see her grandsons? While she can, are they that evil that they will restrict a man from seeing his loved ones for the final time? Comment and share to spread the news.
That's
Just the AI voiceover.
The AI voice, the weird AI generated clips. It cannot say Tristan.
Also, why? I don't know. Dying grandma doesn't really equate to a million shirtless Andrew Tate images.
No. Right. Yeah, a lot of shirtless Andrew Tate smoking a cigar, talking about how his grandma just wants to see him. Him petting a dog is in there too. You just gotta make him look innocent. Speaking of innocent, you know who's never committed a crime that I can prove in a way that is actionable in court?
Allegedly.
Our sponsors.
Allegedly.
I mean, maybe, honestly.
Yeah.
Given some of the people, I don't want to go to bat for that, but
yeah, we don't
anyway,
we don't approve them all.
Let's just be done.
Segregation in the day, integration at night.
When segregation was the law, one mysterious black club owner had his own rules.
We didn't worry about what went on outside. It was like stepping in another world.
Inside Charlie's place, black and white people danced together. But not everyone was happy about it.
You saw the KKK?
Yeah, they was dressed up in their uniform.
The KKK set out to raid Charlie, take him away from here.
Charlie was an example of power. They had to crush him.
From Atlas Obscura, Rococo Punch, and Visit Myrtle Beach comes Charlie's Place, a story that was nearly lost to time. Until now. Listen to Charlie's Place on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Segregation in the day, integration at night.
When segregation was the law, one mysterious black club owner had his own rules.
We didn't worry about what went on outside. It was like stepping in another world.
Inside Charlie's Place, black and white people danced together. But not everyone was happy about it.
You saw the KKK?
Yeah, they was dressed up in their uniform.
The KKK set out to raid Charlie, take him away from here.
Charlie was an example of power. They had to crush him.
From Atlas Obscura, Rococo Punch, and Visit Myrtle Beach comes Charlie's Place. A story that was nearly lost to time. Until now. Listen to Charlie's Place on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Almost 30 years together, 4 kids, and some of reality TV's most unforgettable moments, we know a thing or two about living life out loud. We're taking you behind the scenes in our new podcast, Between Us, with me, Heather Dubrow.
And me, Terry Dubrow. Between Us isn't about perfect lighting or curated Instagram grids.
It's the unfiltered, behind-closed-doors conversations you wish you could eavesdrop on. Equal parts smart, funny, and a little bit scandalous.
Every week, Heather will bring you an unapologetic take on the headlines, the trends, and the cultural moments everyone's texting about.
And Terry will deliver insider beauty, health, and wellness insights you won't find on TikTok.
Together, we'll tell the stories, spill the secrets, and share the hacks that keep life, marriage, and everything in between feeling fresh and fun.
We may live in a gated community, but there's zero gatekeeping here.
And plenty of did they just say that moments?
Listen to Between Us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Anna Navarro, and on my new podcast, Bleep with Anna Navarro, I'm talking to the people closest to the biggest issues happening in your community and around the world. Because I know deep down inside right now, we are all cursing and asking what the bleep is going on. I'm talking to people like Julie K. Brown, who broke the explosive story on Jeffrey Epstein in 2018. These victims have been let down time and time again for decades and decades and decades by local law enforcement, by federal law enforcement, by administration after administration.
The Justice Department, through, I think we counted 4 presidential administrations, failed these victims.
Listen to Bleep with Anna Navarro as part of the My Cultura podcast network, available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back, and we're all still innocent of any crimes that I can prove got committed.
Sure.
Except for that thing with Sophie and the FDA and Venezuela. Anyway, it was messy. It was messy. It was messy.
We don't talk about that on air, Robert.
Who shot who? We'll never know. You know? I don't know. Sophie, glad you're healing. RIP to all those agents.
Allegedly.
Now, as shallow and sad as this whole fucking Grandma Tate bullshit is, I have to be honest, it is unclear to me whether Andrew or Tristan or anyone around them will ever be ultimately convicted and sentenced for anything. Their defense has been buttressed by the fact that Romanian prosecutors are not overwhelmingly competent. And they are trying, right? And there's evidence, there is like significant civil reform actions within Romania. And the fact that the Tates are being charged at all is a part of that, right? But the Dicot prosecutors made a lot of really Bush League mistakes, like not mistakes that indicate that they're really innocent, but the mistakes that are like, yeah, you are going to be able to procedurally get stuff dropped if you can afford very good lawyers like the Tates can when shit like this happens, right?
Yeah.
When the indictments first dropped, there was a lot of excitement among the kind of people who hate Tate. We'll call them most people. And if you'll remember, a lot of folks convinced themselves Greta Thunberg had somehow posted Andrew into prison. And the reality is that that had nothing to do with anything.
No, but really funny.
The timing was funny. But the reality is that the Tates have been pretty savvy with how they have approached their crimes. Not master criminal level. There are some dumb mistakes, which is why they've gotten in trouble. But the thing that they are doing is different enough from traditional like pimping, and they're good enough at scaring a lot of these women into not wanting to take on the risk of openly coming against them, that it is not easy to convict them, at least in Romania, right? This is an uphill battle.
Sure.
There are signs of this. There were signs of this from early on in the court process. The length of time between arrest and indictment is unusual, right? The fact that they spent months in jail and then were on house arrest, and it was still like a year until they got indicted.
Yeah,
that's peculiar. And then in spring of 2024, after a court approved the case to finally go to trial, the Tates succeeded in appealing to change the indictment. Per the AP, quote, the appeals court ruled that it identified multiple flaws in the prosecutor's case file against the Tates, saying prosecutors had failed to adequately explain the charges against Andrew to an alleged female victim, and that the charges against the female suspects were not properly presented. It said the indictment failed to specify the amounts related to the confiscation of assets in the case. The court ordered some evidence removed, including witness statements by 2 alleged victims and witness statements made by Andrew and Tristan, which were deemed inadmissible. The court did not say why. And, there's a number of reasons for this, but again, it all kind of suggests, well, this was sloppier than you'd want it to be, right? Like, that's the fundamental issue here.
And they have so much money to pay for.
And they have money.
To pay for legal advice. And and it's sad because most of that money comes from them manipulating.
Comes from them
14-year-old boys.
14-year-old boy and abusing women, right?
It's like their allowance money is going to the Andrew and Tristan Tate defense fund.
And more than that, when they have these women working for them on cameras, they're taking basically everything they earn, right?
Yeah. 95% of the money is going straight to them. Yeah.
Yes. And so they have money for these, and it's also obviously the different subscription fees. I think that is now he started making his money through the cam business. I don't know that that's any meaningful chunk of his income now. I think it is all from this platform that he's built, right? I think that's where Tate's money comes from these days. But, it's one of those things. What having a good lawyer tends to mean in cases like this isn't that they're better at proving you're innocent. It's that there's all sorts of things that if they're not done perfectly by both the police and by the prosecutors, a lawyer who really knows their shit can drag out a case and that's why you want to have a good lawyer. And this is also how people who are being harassed unjustly by law enforcement get off. But in this case, the Tates have a lot of ammunition on their side, especially given how sloppy things have been done in Romania. I don't think a UK case would go nearly this well against them. But it's also unclear to me. Romania said they will extradite, but he is now allowed to move around the world, as we're talking about. So I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. In August, though, prosecutors in Romania announced a new investigation separate to the other one ongoing that just had the indictment changed. They executed 4 additional search warrants against different properties while investigating new allegations of human trafficking and money laundering. But a few months later, in the fall-winter of 2024, prosecutors had to rework their indictment after the court announced issues over the evidence and aspects of how the case had been approached. Despite this, in December of 2024, the Bucharest Court of Appeals decided the indictment against the Tates did not meet the requirements for the case to go to trial. They claimed there were issues in, quote, the manner of presenting the facts and describing the constituent elements in the case, and that Andrew's right to defense had been violated. They didn't get things all their way in Q4. That same month, the same month that their case was sent back to prosecutors in Romania, a British court ruled that more than £2 million of their frozen assets would be forfeited, as the brothers had obviously committed tax evasion. Yeah. They're accused at present of not paying taxes on some £21 million from 2014 to 2022.
God, that's so much fucking money.
It's so much fucking money. It's really quite frustrating. Andrew described these charges, which included money laundering, as, quote, a coordinated attack on anyone who dares to challenge the system of paying your taxes. Now, the Tates had been released from their strict house arrest conditions near the end of summer 2024, and this had started the timer on a probationary period, after which they would be eligible to leave Romania, right? This was not really surprising that they ultimately were, because once they were released from their house arrest conditions near the end of that summer, there was kind of like a ticking clock going on when they'd get to travel. Okay. Ultimately, in late February of 2025, the brothers received clearance from a Romanian judge to leave the country. Per The Guardian, authorities in Romania said prosecutors had approved the brothers' request to travel. The anti-organized crime unit DICOT said the pair remained under the judicial supervision and would have to appear before the judicial authorities at every summons. It added that any violation may lead to a higher custodial measure. And so this is kind of like getting out on bail, right? You're allowed, except for they're allowed to travel internationally. But, I guess Romania is different. But they are allowed, they do have to come back when asked, but they are allowed to go. And they very quickly did.
It's interesting that you've explained it this way, because I remember when this happened and they showed up, and I think it was Florida, everybody was like, how the fuck is this allowed to happen? Right. And, it just seems like justice system, not so good.
Yeah, I think it's certainly very different, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it works. Now, they immediately boarded a Gulfstream aircraft, which Andrew called Tate Force One.
Fuck off.
It is unclear to me if they own this or are renting it, because they have talked about.
I'm gonna guess they're renting, Robert.
They've talked. Yeah, they have talked at other times about how we had to pay like $185,000 to fly back to Romania to sign this paper. And I'm like, okay, so is that just the fuel costs, or does that mean that like you're renting this fucker? Unclear to me. There was immediate speculation that Trump had pressured the Romanian government on Tate's behalf. Most people I have encountered seem to just take this as established fact that like Trump intervened, and this was certainly the initial discourse around it. Like, oh, now he's going to get off because Trump has intervened on his behalf. The Republicans are going to help him because they love him. I don't know that this is the case. And in fact, I think the preponderance of evidence suggests that it may not be. For his part, Trump has denied knowing anything about their release. And you shouldn't trust anything that Trump says.
Yeah, I was going to say famous truth teller.
Famously not a truth teller. However, Trump is not the kind of guy who would encounter Tate organically, because Tate is kind of like not his style of gross. He likes used car dealers. He likes financial scammers and stuff. Andrew Tate is a literal pimp. He's just like a literal pimp. And that's really not Trump's brand of guy to associate with super publicly. And Trump has not made any point of reaching out to Tate or directly embracing him, even though Andrew has been a major Trump supporter for years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is also possible. Now, there are a lot of people who really like Tate within the Trump administration, a lot of very young, Groyper-style online misogynist freaks that are in the administration, that are in Doge.
The grossest of gross, yeah.
It's possible that some of them pulled strings for him, but it's not clear that this is what happened. Okay. There are rumors of this, but when I track them down, the rumors that it was the Trump administration that pressured Romania to let him leave come down entirely to the lawyer representing the women who have accused Tate of sexual assault back in the UK. That lawyer claimed that the Trump administration is, quote, interfering in due process, and argued that Trump's election was why the brothers felt like they would be safe in returning back to the United States. And I think I don't know that there's evidence. I can't prove it that the Trump administration interfered to make this happen. However, I do think it's probably correct that Trump's election made them feel like maybe we'll be safe in the United States, right? Like, I don't think that part is untrue, but I can't prove the first part, and there's some evidence against it. That said, like a lot of scumbags, Andrew and Tristan felt emboldened by the resurgence of the far right in U.S. politics and Trump's victory, especially since anti-women and anti-woke influencers were a key part of Trump's election strategy, and Tate has rebranded himself a lot as an anti-woke influencer.
Yeah.
It is possible that them feeling like they would be welcome in the U.S. in this new era was a miscalculation. Because while Andrew is a prominent figure to a lot of young people on the far right, he is not a respectable political figure, even in the context of the present U.S. system. I'm not 100% sure why. Guys like Joe Rogan can get away with having Holocaust deniers on their podcast. Doge has multiple young men in it who we know were members of a far-right extremist groups online that trade child porn and try to harass people into suicide. But there is something about Tate that feels gross even for today's Republican Party. And as shocking as it seems, elected Republicans have not given Tate a consistently warm welcome at home.
Yeah, so many different right-wing influencers were mentioned when we went to the RNC. Tate was not even whispered.
There was not
a whisper of Tate.
No. Yeah. And you get the feeling that maybe he's still, I don't know if it'll stay this way, but a bridge too far.
Yeah.
And for whatever value this has, the second he landed in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis made a statement to reporters saying, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that kind of conduct. And what's really shocking was that this was not 100% talk, because as soon as DeSantis made this statement, the Attorney General of Florida announced a criminal probe with the goal of determining whether Florida had any jurisdiction to hold the Tates accountable for their alleged crimes. Wow. It is worth noting that at the time this happened, per the AP, quote, the Tampa Bay Young Republicans Club formally invited Andrew Tate to speak to their group. As free speech absolutists, the Tates haven't been formally convicted of any crimes and are welcome to speak to our group, the Post reads. We're old enough to remember when an asterisk convicted felon asterisk won the presidency. And, so again, I'm not saying he's been rejected by the right. I'm saying that there's quite a few elected leaders on the right who don't really like this guy and have even been willing to take some action against him, which is maybe surprising. but also maybe just a sign that like this is not a guy they really want to be associated with, right?
That's too extreme for even them.
Too extreme, or they just don't like him personally, right?
Yeah,
or they
maybe
think he's just like
a dickhead.
He's a gross dickhead. Yeah. Even Ron DeSantis may have some standards. I guess we found his line.
Yeah, I mean that's like that's one of his things that like not Tate.
Yeah.
Like, he does not like what Tate does. Like that's what which like
he's a sex trafficker.
Yeah, like bare minimum, Ron, but
and he brags about being a sex trafficker, which is like that you could be a sex trafficker and in good with elected Republicans, but you have to lie about it.
Right.
So there is a specific segment of conservative media who have no issues being affiliated with the Tates, obviously. Aiden Ross was photographed and filmed partying with him at a club in Miami. When interviewed by a reporter about the probe by the Florida Attorney General, he said, "We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood." Tate and Tristan attended several UFC fights in Las Vegas. Dana White,
really close to Trump, though, because Dana White is
exactly.
That's
getting close.
That's
and
where
I think
I'm
like Aiden Ross and like the Nelk Boys and all that stuff. Trump was on all their podcasts in the election cycle. Like there it is. Yeah,
and that's where we're getting kind of like I don't know. Because Dana White, who's, again, the UFC president and CEO, very close to Trump, helped introduce Trump at the RNC, shook hand with, it was seen shaking hands with the brothers and hugging them and saying on video, "Welcome to the States, boys." There are also some folks who have gone back and forth on the Tates.
Okay.
James Kennedy, a star from Vanderpump Rules.
He was just arrested for domestic violence. So
great guy.
Let's not hold that.
I'm saying, even that guy, he was seen at a VIP bar during one of these Vegas UFC events, hanging out with Andrew and Tristan, and posted the photo on his Instagram. And the backlash was severe enough that he like deleted it and apologized, saying, I was unfamiliar with their content and the allegations against them. I only knew them as podcasters who had posted a viral clip about Vanderpump. I have since educated myself and condemned their beliefs."
Oh my God. Did he really try to pull I was unfamiliar with their game?
I was unfamiliar with them. I just thought they were podcasters.
Yeah, all right, bro.
So they're in this really weird spot where it's like kind of uneven, where some people are willing to double down on being like, no, they haven't been convicted. I love them. And fucking the Vanderpump guy's like, oh no, I had no idea. Very peculiar situation. It is a little hard for me to parse out the precise dimensions of what's going on here. Now, the Tates themselves have filed a defamation lawsuit in Palm Beach Circuit Court back in 2003 against the woman who accused them of keeping her prisoner in their compound in Romania. This was one of the things that led to, the investigations and everything against them. They've sought a restraining order against her as well. Tate returned to Romania in March, spending, he claims, $185,000 in a private jet for the flight. This was essentially him fulfilling the conditions of his release, which required that he return when summoned by the court. In a post before his return, Tate said to Twitter, "Innocent men don't run. All caps. They clear their name in court."
Just imagine what would happen if he flew domestic. I just am so curious about how if normal people noticed him, what would happen.
No, there's no way he's ever going to fly domestic. Yeah, absolutely not.
I don't. So, whatever, bro. Stop complaining about the money you have to spend. You're a fucking predator.
Yeah, and hey, if you can't afford a private jet to fly to Romania to deal with the conditions of your bail,
are you really top G? If you can't afford if you can afford to rent a PJ for all your crimes?
One way to afford that private jet is to save money by buying the products and services that support this podcast.
Wow. That was masterful.
Honestly,
Thank you.
Iconic for you.
Proud of myself. Yeah.
I'm proud of you, Robert. Yeah.
Segregation in the day, integration at night.
When segregation was the law, one mysterious black club owner had his own rules.
We didn't worry about what went on outside. It was like stepping in another world.
Inside Charlie's place, black and white people danced together. But not everyone was happy about it.
You saw the KKK?
Yeah, they were just dressed up in their uniform.
The KKK set out to raid Charlie, take him away from here.
Charlie was an example of power. They had to crush him.
From Atlas Obscura, Rococo Punch, and Visit Myrtle Beach comes Charlie's Place, A story that was nearly lost to time. Until now. Listen to Charlie's Place on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Segregation in the day, integration at night.
When segregation was the law, one mysterious black club owner had his own rules.
We didn't worry about what went on outside. It was like stepping in another world.
Inside Charlie's Place, black and white people danced together. But not everyone was happy about it.
You saw the KKK?
Yeah, they was dressed up in their uniform.
The KKK set out to raid Charlie, take him away from here.
Charlie was an example of power. They had to crush him.
From Atlas Obscura, Rococo Punch, and Visit Myrtle Beach comes Charlie's Place. A story that was nearly lost to time. Until now. Listen to Charlie's Place on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Almost 30 years together, 4 kids, and some of reality TV's most unforgettable moments, we know a thing or two about living life out loud. We're taking you behind the scenes in our new podcast, Between Us, with me, Heather Dubrow.
And me, Terry Dubrow. Between Us isn't about perfect lighting or curated Instagram grids.
It's the unfiltered, behind closed doors conversations you wish you could eavesdrop on. Equal parts smart, funny, and a little bit scandalous.
Every week, Heather will bring you an unapologetic take on the headlines, the trends, and the cultural moments everyone's texting about.
And Terry will deliver insider beauty, health, and wellness insights you won't find on TikTok.
Together, we'll tell the stories, spill the secrets, and share the hacks that keep life, marriage, and everything in between feeling fresh and fun.
We may live in a gated community, but there's zero gatekeeping here.
And plenty of, did they just say that moments?
Listen to Between Us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Anna Navarro, and on my new podcast, Bleep with Anna Navarro, I'm talking to the people closest to the biggest issues happening in your community and around the world. Because I know deep down inside right now, we are all cursing and asking, what the bleep is going on? I'm talking to people like Julie K. Brown, who broke the explosive story on Jeffrey Epstein in 2018. These victims have been let down time and time again for decades and decades and decades by local law enforcement, by federal law enforcement, by administration after administration.
The Justice Department, through, I think we counted 4 presidential administrations, failed these victims.
Listen to Bleep with Anna Navarro as part of the My Cultura podcast network. Available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, we're back, and we're talking about how the real way to make Andrew Tate style money. It's so funny to me that like the core of his fortune is all in like promising dumb teenage boys that he knows how to make them rich so they can escape the fucked up economy that we've all been left with, the fucked up planet that's going to make it harder and harder to survive. Yeah. Like his job is like grifting off the fact that people are desperate because any chance at actually getting ahead in the world has been like strangled in the fucking crib by the people who the ghouls who run everything. And his job is just grifting off that desperate hope and that failure to realize who the actual people with their boots on their neck are, right? He's just kind of dancing around the boot being like, I can help you out from under that boot, governor. You know, that's my Andrew Tate accent.
Close enough, right? So as we stated last time, Tate did return in March to Romania. He signed those papers. We'll see how things in Romania go. That said, as that case has, stuttered and started and stopped and started again, he has continued to accumulate criminal charges and investigations at what I can only describe as a Trumpian rate. Several days ago, them like Pokemon cards.
He's collecting them like Pokemon cards. So he flies back in late February to the United States, right? Re-enters the country, parties in Florida, some. On April 5th, 2025, NBC News published an article about several people being sued by the Tates who'd filed in Palm Beach to pause civil defamation cases against them until the United States federal investigation and or prosecution by the DOJ and the Southern District of New York of Andrew and Tristan has concluded. Now,
that has been seen as evidence by a lot of people that since he's landed, both the feds and the Southern District, and the Southern District does a lot of this kind of high profile shit. They were responsible for one of the big prosecutions against Trump. They went after Harvey Weinstein, right? Like this is what the Southern District does. So it's very, very not surprising that the Southern District is going after them. But there had not been previous confirmation of that, or that there is an ongoing federal investigation, which is really interesting to me as we kind of debate to what extent are the Republicans in the tank for this guy, right? So that does suggest the fact that their lawyer tried this, that there are investigations going on. It is not 100% clear if that is the case, but it really seems likely right now.
Okay.
So if you're keeping track, Andrew was back in in the U.S. for a few weeks, but in that short time, he managed to both, get to a federal and a Southern District investigation started against him, and he has racked up another serious allegation of physical and sexual violence. His ex-girlfriend, Breonna Stern, accused him of sexual battery in a Los Angeles hotel room within days of his return to the country.
Jesus.
The two had met. Yeah, this is like, again, right after he gets back to the United States, right? Like
and
almost
he's just immediately like, let me do some abuse right when I get back.
Let me go to a fucking LA hotel room and beat up my girlfriend. Yeah.
That's just like
allegedly. Yeah.
The right wing talks all about people coming into this country and harming women, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It's been here for 4 seconds.
He's a citizen, though. It's fine.
Whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I forgot. That makes it okay.
We're all good, baby.
We're all good with domestic violence.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Stern and Tate had met in July of 2024 after the brothers invited her to their Romanian compound because, per the AP, they were looking for models to help promote their cryptocurrency meme coin. She said that he convinced her the media portrayals of him were untrue and that he was actually a supporter of women. It seemed like a dream come true, she said in the complaint. And I'm not going to pile on Stern here, but maybe don't... We really need to teach more critical thinking in school, I guess. I don't know what the solution is here.
Wow.
Don't just
convince her he was a supporter of women.
Yeah. There's audio of this guy talking about we'll talk about some of the audio that exists.
I know, but if you don't want to believe a thing, it's really easy not to.
That is being a person. Yeah.
Yeah.
After she returned to the U.S., Tate's communications became threatening and manipulative, including calling her his property, Stern alleges. What a G.
What a fucking G.
He sent messages saying he wanted to beat and impregnate her, telling her, "You have an attitude because you're not hit enough." He once wrote, according to the complaint. Tate's lawyer has alleged that the messages were doctored, edited, and falsified. Stern also alleges that when they were both in that hotel together, Andrew beat and choked her during sex and repeatedly promised that if she crossed him, he would kill her. At this point, this is just a criminal complaint. It is unclear to me where this is going to end, if there are going to be charges and stuff like that. I do think that it is worth sharing a statement Stern made after the complaint was made public. I considered many times just silently leaving Andrew and saying nothing, doing nothing, because I was scared and because it was honestly hard for me to accept that I was being abused. But I can see that now that doing so would be the cowardly approach. And that is, again, one of the reasons why he's gotten away with it is that he scares people and they don't want to deal with his incredibly weaponized fan base, and they don't want to deal. Right. They're also afraid of him personally. And yeah, it does take a lot of courage, no matter what decisions may have led you there, to choose to actually go for bore against this guy, right? So I do applaud her for that. This is not easy. You're painting it, especially in the current political climate, painting a target on your back takes a lot of courage.
1,000%. She's going to be just ridiculed online by the worst of the worst. And
her name, it's with her name attached, right?
With
a lot of the accusers rightfully are anonymous, and she is not, which makes it a lot harder and makes this a lot braver.
Yes.
Now, right as while all this was happening, the AP published another article with the simple title, "Andrew Tate lands in Dubai, calls UK case politically motivated." He was there to do what rich, evil men do in Dubai, and his arrival there sparked fears among UK politicians that he might remain in the Emirates to avoid justice. Labour MP Emily Darlington wrote to the Home Secretary to beg the government to prevent the Tate brothers from evading trial by fleeing to other countries. Tate responded on Twitter with this: "I've made it to Dubai just fine, thanks." He claimed that the Romanian authorities have informed him that the case against him in Romania was started by the UK Foreign Office to get me off the internet. And we will see where all of that goes. But I kind of wanted to conclude by talking about a little bit aspect of Tate's personality that we didn't get into enough in the previous episodes, but that I think is really important to put together here. Andrew Tate absolutely needs you to believe that he is a dangerous man, right? He is, in the sense that he hurts a lot of people and he spreads toxic propaganda and he has a lot of fame, and fame can make you dangerous to other people, right? Mm-hmm. So can money. But he also needs you to believe that he is a John Wick kind of warrior in real life, and he simply isn't. We discussed in the earlier episodes that his kickboxing career is massively inflated. He was an okay professional, but experts will always tell you he had an eminently forgettable record, right? He primarily picked fights that were easy for the purpose of getting a record that looked good on paper, but there is absolutely nothing special about his record as a kickboxer. And even the fact that he has a quote-unquote reputation as a professional kickboxer isn't enough for him. And he constantly posts videos of him and tweets of himself with weapons. Mm-hmm. His favorite, for whatever reason, probably because he's part British, being an incredibly shitty machete. One of the worst machetes I've ever seen. Now look, I'm going to avoid playing too many extended clips of the motherfucker, but I think you need to see this, and it'll help get everyone in the proper mood. So here is a video simply called on YouTube, Andrew Tate, Machete Women Self-Defense.
It's really not weird. I think ahead, motherfucker. I have a machete next to my bed. In fact, there's at least one, depending on the room, and 1 and 3
he's laying in bed waving a machete.
Any room I'm in my house, I can produce a weapon. If you can't do the same thing, you need to think long and hard about why you're such a little pussy. So some little pussy-ass dude once said to me, yeah, but if it's next to your bed, what if you like upset a girl and she catches you cheating and gets a machete? Bro, there's no female alive, even with a machete, that would stand a chance against the immense power I possess. Have you ever seen a woman try and do anything competently? Like, imagine a girl pick this up. If I pick this up, you ain't fucking with me. I'd have my left hand, I'd still like jab, I'd fucking swing low, take her fucking knee out. You ain't gonna see it coming. What would a woman do?
He looks like a fucking insect.
He's waving again. He's waving a machete like a guy who's never used one for anything but also, filming videos.
Right? It looks like a really shitty fucking.
It
machete.
is a dog shit machete. I'm going to talk at length about how shitty this machete is, because I'm a man who likes his machetes, right? I enjoy using large knives in general. I like the aesthetics of them. I don't keep 3 in every room, in part because they're not a good weapon. You know what a good weapon is? A fucking gun. But they are a really good tool. I used them just last weekend. I had to process a bunch of firewood when I was out camping. I've used them bushwhacking through thick brush. I've used them to repeatedly sever the heads of mid-sized mammals when I'm slaughtering animals or processing roadkill, because in Oregon, if you harvest roadkill, you have to turn the head into the state, right? So I have a lot of experience using a wide variety of different large knives for the things that they are useful for, right? The point is that I know what makes these tools useful and not. And in my opinion, Andrew is showing off among the shittiest machetes I have ever seen. To describe it for our listeners, right? It has a blade in the front and then a saw on the back. And then also in the middle of the blade, there are a bunch of rectangular cuts in the middle where there's no metal, just squares. I think I've seen this. I've seen several machete survival branded machetes like this, where it's like, it makes it lighter. And it's like, yeah, but it also makes it weaker. It makes it a lot easier to break. If you're using it for any of the tool purposes you want a machete for, stuff gets caught in there. It's not something you want on a good solid tool. The other stupid thing about this is the fucking saw blade in the back. Let me tell you this right now, folks. There are certain times when combining a number of tools makes sense. A multi-tool, right? Because it's small and it fits in your pocket, and there are a number of things, and there's really no other way to have. But you would never choose to use the screwdriver on a multi-tool over a full-size screwdriver, or the saw blade on a multi-tool over a full-size saw blade. But at least you can pop out the saw blade. When I processed a deer last year, I popped out the saw blade on my multi-tool to cut through the sternum, right? Like there's a use for that kind of a thing. There is not a use for a saw blade on the back of a machete like this because it has a blade on both ends. What are you going to do how are you going to are you going to grip the edge of the front of the machete in order to saw?
Yeah,
is that what you're going to do? How are you going to hold? What is the utility? And a saw blade, not a great weapon, right? And again, there's this attitude, again, very errant, brought to us by a lot of movies that like knives and long knives, that like the way there's like arts to fighting with them. And there are some like martial arts around knife fighting. They are primarily for how they look and showing off. If you look at how 99% of quote unquote knife fights go, somebody with a blade literally throws their body into the other person and stabs them 50 to 100 fucking times until they bleed out. That's how people kill each other with fucking knives a lot of the time, right? It is not an artisan's weapon. It is and both people usually wind up hideously cut. That is how knives work as weapons. That is why you don't want to rely on a knife as a weapon. They're not a good survival weapon, right? They're great as tools, but not the one that he has. It's a dog shit tool. It's a tool for a fucking idiot. And the only reason he is posing with this is not because he trusts it to protect himself.
It's to look cool to children.
It's the way it looks.
Cool to children, right?
He wants people to think he's John Wick.
To children. And I've seen multiple videos. He claims I have 3 in every room. I have seen this exact same machete in several different Tate videos. It's always carefully posed so you know it's there because Andrew desperately needs 14-year-old boys to believe that he's scary. Here's a photo Sophie's going to show you of him sitting up in bed, wearing sunglasses for some reason.
Trigger warning. Shirtless.
An unsheathed machete lying next to him over the sheets.
Just on the bed? Oh
just on the bed. And shit
so
like this,
dumb.
it makes it very
shitty
clear.
Fucking headboard and his shitty fucking bedding and his shitty fucking shirtless body and his shitty fucking machete. And his shitty fucking
kids.
Sunglasses, and his shitty fucking side table, and his shitty fucking curtains, and his shitty fucking lighting, and his shitty fucking existence. Sorry, I got really triggered too.
His primary audience is children. These are little boys. Yeah.
I would just he was like, a woman with a machete, she couldn't do anything to me. Like, I would like to take the chance.
Take the chance, man. Take the chance. Because you know what the fun thing about a knife is? If you get cut in the wrong place, it doesn't matter how big your muscles are.
Right.
It doesn't.
Exactly.
That's what weapons do, right?
I don't know.
They're scary. Knives are scary. Don't get close
Andrew
to them.
Tate versus a pissed off woman with a machete. Like, I would like to see that. Yeah.
Well, and just like, it's not the machete that's the most dangerous weapon. It's somebody who has like a fucking 3 or 4 inch blade concealed and they're next to you and you turn your back and grab a drink and she jams you in the kidney 11 times, you know?
You're done.
Like, then you're fucking bleeding. Maybe you live, but you don't live well. Knives are scary. So again, shit like this is to impress little boys in primary school or secondary school whose primary knowledge of knives comes from fucking cartoons and action figures and comic books, right? What I see here is a guy who bought a machete because he wanted purchased one that he thought was likely to impress 13-year-old boys, right? But I should note that it's not just little boys that he is trying to impress. There is a secondary concern tied for that in his mind when he does stuff like this. And the secondary concern is much scarier. Will this weapon, these things I'm saying, this way I'm posing, will this scare the mostly teenaged 18 to 19-year-old and very young adult girls in their early 20s that I pick up in clubs and then later allegedly coerce into doing on-camera sex work, right? That is the second simultaneous reason that he does this, because as those allegations in the UK show, a lot of what he does is based on them thinking he's dangerous. I'm going to play you a video here where Tate answers the question. I mean, a second video, right? Like we just played that first one. This is a video of him giving a speech to some of the War Room guys being asked like, yeah, what if a woman catches you cheating, right? And this is fairly famous. You've seen it on a lot of coverage.
Yeah, I've seen this stupid video before.
Yeah.
Let's watch it.
Yep.
Oh.
Can't wait.
Yep.
You've seen it before. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Why is his tongue out?
Yeah.
It's gross. It's gross. Unpleasant.
Put that away.
Unpleasant.
Hey, you cheater. You cheating. It's bang out the machete, boom in her face, you grip her up by the neck. Well, shut up, bitch.
Yeah. And now I will say this is evidence that he owns a second machete, because that is a different machete and it doesn't have holes in it. So there you go.
But it also looks like it's from Temu.
Looks like it's from Temu, maybe Bud K, right? Again, the purpose of these weapons, of all of his posing with weapons, of all of his threats about his power, is to scare very young people or impress very young people. Right? Because those are the folks who don't have the life experience or the support to recognize or have any sort of like way to feel like they can defend themselves against him. Or, they're little boys who think he looks like a comic book character and that's what they want to be. Right? Those are his audience.
His tongue is disgusting. I mean, everything about him just gives me the willies.
That's part one of our Andrew Tate updates. Hope you're all having fun. We will be back to talk about his real weapons, the only actual weapons I've seen him wield competently, which is his digital platform and his fame, which he is unfortunately quite good at.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
Ian, you have anything you want to plug?
Listen to 16th Minute by Jamie Loftus. It's a great show. I may or may not work on it. And it's a good time.
I do work on it. You're the supervising producer and editor of that podcast.
And listen to Hood Politics too. Prop is doing great work over there.
Yeah.
And so if you want to stay informed and have fun while you're doing it, take a listen to Hood Politics.
Yeah. Check 100%. Out Hood Politics. Check out anything else on the internet besides more Andrew Tate.
We'll be back. In the meantime, touch grass.
Touch grass.
Behind the Bastards is a production of Cool Zone Media. For more from Cool Zone Media, visit our website, coolzonemedia.com, or check us out on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Behind the Bastards is now available on YouTube. New episodes every Wednesday and Friday. Subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/@BehindTheBastards.
Saturday, May 2nd, country's biggest stars will be in Austin, Texas at our 2026 iHeart Country Festival presented by Capital One. Tickets are on sale now. Get yours before they sell out at Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com.
This is Ryder Strong, and I have a new podcast called The Red Weather. In 1995, my neighbor, Anna Trainer, disappeared from a commune.
It was nature and trees and praying and drugs.
So no, I am not your guru.
And back then, I lied to everybody.
They have had this case for 30 years.
I'm going back to my hometown to uncover the truth. Listen to The Red Weather on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's Emily Simpson and Shane Simpson from the Legally Brunette podcast.
Each week, we're bringing you true crime through a legal lens.
Whether you want all the facts on the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, or you still need to wrap your head around the Diddy verdict, we're breaking it all down step by step.
And we're not just lawyers, we're also husband and wife. It makes for some pretty entertaining episodes.
Listen to Legally Brunette on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the biggest night in podcasting.
The countdown is on to our 2026 iHeart Podcast Awards. Live from South by Southwest, March 16th, we'll honor the very best in podcasting from the past year and celebrate the most innovative talent and creators in the industry.
It's truly a who's who of the podcasting world.
Creativity, knowledge, and passion will all be on full display.
And the winner of the iHeart Podcast Award is...
See all the nominees now at iHeart.com/podcast awards.
Audible is a proud sponsor of the Audible Audio Pioneer Award. Explore the best selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals all in one easy app. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.